Hi there, my name is Lori Law, and we're coming to you from Winslow, Arizona and the 66 Motor Palace. We're going to give you a little tour around town via our favorite mode of transportation.
I'm Brian. And it's actually our second favorite mode of transportation. Two wheels is always more fun. Let's see if this thing will start. It's an old BMW with a Velorex sidecar. Hey, look at that. Ready to go?
Ready! All right, so Brian has the sidecar out. Now we need to lock up, but we want to show you something first before we set off on our adventure. Our latest project is putting a front on this old building which had plywood on it forever. So local metal artisan John Sutman, he's responsible for doing all the gorgeous gates at the La Posada Hotel. He's building these incredible doors for us. All right, Brian, where's our first stop on our motorcycle adventure?
I have no idea.
This is our 1966 Airstream Caravelle, and now we're going to take a little ride in, what do you call this?
The dread sled.
Why do you call it the dread sled?
Because it's not the death sled. The death sled was too dangerous and we got rid of it.
Say hi, Seth.
Hi, gang.
This is Don and Seth. Don and Seth have businesses here in the downtown district. The Standing on the Corner store, which is behind me there, and the Sip Shop, which is coffee and ice cream and sandwiches and all kinds of good stuff. They're a very important part of downtown Winslow. Say hello to Arizona.
Hello, Arizona.
All right, we're going to do a quick drive-by here. This is our building where we live, the Motor Palace. We're going to give you a whole tour of that thing in just a little bit. But first, we're going to make a stop at the place that originally brought us to Winslow, thanks to Brian and motorcycles. This is the famed La Posada Hotel. It was a Harvey house that was designed by architect Mary Coulter in the late 1920s. Brian stayed here while passing through town delivering a motorcycle from Los Angeles area to Nashville, and he just thought it was the coolest place he'd ever seen. And here we are 10 years later. This is the most recent addition at the La Posada. It's the Winslow Arts Trust Museum, and they get wonderful exhibits here. Like right now they have an exhibit about the life of Humalavi, life along the river. Across from us there is the El Gran, which was the original garage for the La Posada. And it's now an art space owned by Paul Rouchet. Hi, Bobby Hano, how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Good, say hello to Arizona.
Well, hello, Arizona. Let's get this done so we can all get back to living our lives like we need to be.
There you go. Hey, what's that shirt say?
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Hey, Brian, let's give a tour by Earl's Motor Court. Here we have Earl's Motor Court, which was one of the original Route 66 motels and the longest operating motel in Winslow. They have some really terrific neon that lights up this place at night. About a year and a half ago, Blas and Angela bought the motel. Florinell and Lee Earl are the ones who originally started it.
Greg Hackler's parking lot. He's another important part of Winslow. He's preservation, great musician, all around. Wonderful guy.
This is Dr. Greg Hackler, musician, chiropractor, longtime Winslow resident. Say hello to Arizona.
Hello, Arizona.
It's coming up on our left, Brian.
That'd be the best restaurant in the whole world. The Brown Mug.
What do you like there?
Tacos, steak picado, coffee cups.
Good morning. This is the Hubble Visitor Center. And behind the Hubble Visitor Center, we have the Eagle Pavilion, which is where the Standing on the Corner Festival takes place every year. They have a lot of great live music. That happens at the end of September. Two of Winslow's favorite citizens right here. You can see Poppy's very excited. First Street here was the original Main Street in Winslow. All right, we're gonna try to actually take the sidecar through the First Street Park, which is this wonderful walking park that the city created.
First segment here is obviously representing Route 66. There's a Burma Shave sign.
What can be said about 66? Adventure and travel, it has the mix. And then of course Winslow has a vast railroad history, and so we have some train cars here, and you can actually climb around on the train cars and experience what it's like. Coming up on our right is an historic Texaco station that's owned by our friend Dave Hartman. Brian, tell us a little about Dave Hartman.
Well, David's a retired cattle ranch manager, cattleman of the year, all kinds of good things like that. And he specializes in historic properties and ranch properties. He's real estate now.
This is one of the iconic sites in Winslow Silhouette, and it's this beautiful Catholic church that was built right around the birth of Winslow, which Winslow was founded in 1880. Hello, Winslow's finest.
Hi, Arizona.
John Sutman's building here on the left, metalworker who did a lot of the ironwork that you see at the La Posada. He's the one who built our incredible doors, and as you can see, he has some pretty great doors as well. Next to it is the Snowdrift Art Space, and that's where Dan and Anne-Mary Letzick live.
Hey!
Dan is an incredible artist doing large pieces, and he also is the general manager of the La Posada, and really very key in the rebirth of the La Posada. Then we have the Winslow Theater, which started life as the Rialto Theater in 1926, and it was out of operation for a period of time, and Debbie and Tommy Martinez brought this beauty back to life, and they do so much for the community. It started as a vaudeville theater and a movie theater, and so it has a stage, and on their opening night they played It with Clara Bow, and they had dancers and musicians and vaudeville comedians, and it was a really big to-do in Winslow in 1926 when it opened. We have across the way here the soon-to-be Flatbed Ford Cafe, and upstairs is an Airbnb. And what's next door, Brian?
The Old Trails Museum.
The Old Trails Museum in town is a terrific stop. Lots of great history about the town and the surrounding area. And Mary Letzick, we passed the Snowdrift. She's the director here. Happy birthday, Jim! A couple days ago. 75 years old, sitting in the corner over there. Jim Buckley is an incredible photographer here in town. One of the many people who makes this place just a terrific place to be. Say hello, Jim! Coming up on your left is a place that people stop from all around the world. It's the Standing on the Corner Park. Who's in the park, Brian?
Easy, Glenn Fry, and us.
The mural on the wall was a mural by John Pugh. It's a trompe-l'oeil, is that how you say that?
I don't know how to say that word. It's French.
Easy. This is the statue everybody comes to put their arms around. This was created by Ron Adamson in 1998. It's a bronze, and it's a representation of the Eagles, so it's not technically Jackson Browne. And then here we have Glenn Fry. After his passing a few years ago, the statue was commissioned and put into place, and they had a really wonderful ceremony here. And this is the flatbed Ford, because of course Winslow, Arizona needs a flatbed Ford.
These are the bricks. You can go on Winslow, the Stand on the Corner Foundation site, and buy a brick and put what you want on it. We got one in there somewhere. I don't know where it is. But...
All right, well, I think it's time to give you a little tour of our spaces. All right, so that concluded our motorcycle tour of Winslow. Now we're going to take a look at... So let's take a little peek inside the Mercantile, now that we've parked the dread sled. Starting off with our penny floor. Woo! So the Mercantile started life as the Vienna Bakery, and it was built in 1896. This photo here is our former city manager's father-in-law. He's on a Harley-Davidson Hummer there, back in Ohio. And this photo over here is my great-aunt Georgia, taken in 1926. We have a few Winslow artifacts in the building, like this hat that was purchased in this building when it was Lehman's department store back in the 60s. We have a Winslow, Arizona bottling crate. We have this sign from the Winslow Municipal Pool. The scale is from Bruckman's Trading Post. Remember Earl's Route 66 Motor Court we took you by? Well, this was Lee Earl's Boy Scout leader shirt. And a couple of photos of the building through time. We put in this ceiling by American Tin. It's American-made, genuine tin. There's over 300 tiles up in that ceiling, not that I was counting. Part of having an historic building is, you got to deal with its flaws and eccentricities. We do, the old-timey cane sugar sodas. And these came out of our friend David Hartman's Texaco station. All of our clothing, the new stuff, is made in USA. So we have Western shirts that are made in Texas. We look for more handmade, handcrafted kind of items, like these mugs, which are made in Wisconsin by actual potters. We try to do as much Arizona-based stuff that we can, so even these Route 66 souvenir signs are made by a company in Phoenix. Another Arizona brand we carry are the Kettle Heroes popcorn, and this is part of the Pat Tillman Foundation, so a portion of the proceeds go to that foundation. A few years ago, we were in Albuquerque and saw these tiles and really loved them. And so we wanted to have them at our Mercantile. They're hand glazed in Tucson, and we had a custom tile done for Winslow, Arizona. These tea towels are printed by hand from a Winslow native, and her husband makes these flags using Winslow-sourced wood. My mom is great at finding treasures, and she found us this really cool old cash register which came off of the Papago Trading Post. And we also have some Winslow-crafted items, like this really cool sculpture done by George Gould. He's, fairly new to metalworking, but really having a fun time with it. And in this piece, he used historic Winslow Railroad pieces, and I love the little turquoise he put in the bottom of the wrench. All right, so you may be wondering why we call it the Motor Palace Mercantile. We both love motorcycles and actually cars, anything that goes vroom. So here we have a Harley-Davidson Hummer. Brian, tell us about this motorcycle.
Yeah, it's about a 1956 Harley-Davidson Hummer. It's a motorcycle that was part of war reparations after World War II.
Okay, so that's it for the Mercantile. Let's head over to the Motor Palace. All right, so this is 66 Motor Palace. So this is our home. It was a pool hall that was built in the 1890s, and we've transformed it into our living space, and we have some plans for some motorcycle-related events down the way, too.
Give you an idea what we're planning on doing with this thing. First, it's our house, so we live here. Originally, thought we'd maybe do a little motorcycle shop or a store, and we just decided we like it, and we just want to live in it. But you're probably also wondering maybe where's the art angle with these idiots? All they do is have stuff and drive around waving to people. We're going to use this space as partially a gallery and with motorcycles and artists. We try to pair them, have a vignette with each little space where the artist's work would be for sale, and potentially some of the motorcycles. Not these are ones we just like.
When we first bought this building, it was a construction site. I mean, it had been empty for a long time. It had no plumbing, no electricity. The people we bought it from were going to drywall it and make an art space. But the building really is a piece of art on itself. So, Brian, I mean, it's gone through a lot of transformation. So where would you like to see the space continue to go?
I want it to be a space that kind of invokes some sort of emotion or a feeling from people of their own. Let people interpret it their own way and hopefully enjoy the space. And by bringing other artists in, sharing what it is they're trying to share, I guess.
So a couple of weeks ago, Brian went to the movie theater and he saw Addams Family, and when he came home and walked into the space at night, he thought...
Well, it was kind of funny. I walked in, and you walk out of the movie and into the house, and I think, I'm living the Addams Family. It's reality, but it's not, but it is because it's here. And again, I hope other people can experience the same thing that we do when we come into the place, which is complete happiness.
All right, so that's our motorcycle tour of Winslow and of the Motor Palace Mercantile and 66 Motor Palace.
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks Arizona Citizens for the Arts for allowing us to participate. It's been a real privilege. During this downtime, we're gonna just keep working on the buildings and see what we can have for you, and hopefully you can all come up and visit us sometime soon.
Come visit. Winslow's a really cool place. Come support the community and say hi. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. Be safe. Ride a motorcycle.
And have fun.
Wear your masks.
Oh yeah, wear your mask.
Bye.